Hey, welcome back to the fine line between stupid and clever, and this will be my third or my fourth video on an epoxy-bodied guitar. This is my Lifesaver guitar, made with 19 different colored epoxy pores, all in all, added with ridiculous little LED lights and custom epoxy pore volume and tone knobs. This process that I've been working on for a while of using epoxy bodies has been a journey to say the least, but this is the last installment in these kind of guitar bodies because I need to move on to something different anyway. Take a look at the video. I hope you like it, and leave comments if you like. Subscribe, you don't have to. I've got a day job, and I hope you like the video. Cheers. I experimented around with tinting the casting with pigment and layers as I built it. So I came up with this really funky body with layers in the walls, and then I also layered up the top with different colors, which I thought it would have well demarcated kind of lines, but now it's got this kind of changing color nature to it that I really kind of dig. Came out really kind of cool. So with this guitar, I think I'm going to build kind of a version of an acoustasonic guitar where I'm going to leave the body clear. I'm likely going to eliminate the central posts here, have a floating bridge, two-pneumatic bridge on it. I'm going to put in a central sound hole, and I'm going to also put in a like a hot rail humbucker pickup in it to give it kind of the acoustic electric kind of combination thing. And I'll use a trapeze tailpiece with this. But it's the experiment of the multicolored epoxy, which I'm just kind of still, I can't stop playing with it. So stay tuned. Let me know how you think. Leave comments if you're kind, and enjoy the video. Because I've decided to take the colored body and make it kind of an acoustic, I'm going to cut out the posts in the middle here and drill down the base of the post a little bit and see if I can add a little bit of epoxy to the space that gets drilled down to clarify that area and make it clear. And I'm going to leave the back completely clear, which is, it's just going to be weird. Anyway, those are the next steps. Off to the milling room. Then on the colored guitar, it actually highlighted the boundaries between the layers much better. Comes out and it looks almost like a stack of Lifesavers. I'm loving that. That's going to be really cool. I don't know if this will show up in the video, but in order to add a little color to the back of the guitar, I added little brushed on little volumes of epoxy in kind of a rainbow sunburst kind of pattern, which just kind of adds to the whole menagerie of colors. It's subtle, and there's with the brushing on, there's quite a few bubbles, and I hope that the bubbles come out, but it's going to make for an interesting effect through the back. So the multicolor guitar is evolving in kind of a weird way. I'm liking the colors, and I love how the top changes colors when I change angles to it, but with it being a stupid clever guitar made out of epoxy, I had to put lights in it. So I went with a I drilled some holes in the side here, and I installed a little fairy light strip of multicolored lights that then pop up in there. So I'm now feeling like this is going to turn into my holiday guitar. It looks a little bit like a Christmas ornament. Now, the other thing that's different is when I brushed on epoxy on the inside, on the bottom, there were a whole lot of bubbles that came up, and it made this wicked kind of ripply effect. And there is, it's hard to see, it does, you can see the color actually really good in here, but it's pretty translucent. And I'm not really happy with the way that went. If I could go back and do that over again, I would change it. But what I actually like is the way that the light reflects around the bubbles and things. So I'm thinking and then when you're looking at it through the clear transparent top, although there's color to the transparent top, the bubbles shine through from the back. So I think it looks a little weird this way. I think what I'm going to do is try to obscure with a clear texture the bottom side of the top as well. And instead of using epoxy for that, I'm going to use clear Elmer's glue and brush it on, and that should give it a little bit of a rippling effect on that. And then all that's left to do is lay out my sound hole. I'm going to lay out my pickup cavity and glue it together. So my first trial of just the clear glue really did absolutely nothing to the backside of the top. And I actually had to go into my daughter's crafting supplies and get Mod Podge and stipple it along the inside of the top. And that, in combination with the weird bubbles on the inside here, gives this whole thing kind of this whole stained glass kind of appearance. I turn on the lights, we put the top on, and you get this kind of weird mixed crushed glass kind of look to it, which, you know, I'm not 100% like super crazy about it, but it's going to be kind of weird. I figure I'm going to make this my holiday guitar, kind of my Christmassy guitar, and I think it's time to go ahead and drill a hole for a jack. Probably going to put a volume and a tone knob on there, and we'll glue up the top and get it ready for stringing. Okay, so here is the finished product of what I am calling the Lifesaver guitar, and that's just because of the funky multiple colors in the layers that show up with the lighting, which I gotta admit, it's not my favorite guitar. It's not my favorite of all these projects. And in this process, in finishing off, and to notice it off, I did wire up a volume and a tone pot, and I poured custom epoxy colored knobs to go with it, just to kind of go with the whole color theme. Which was kind of fun. No big deal, just to drill a hole in them and snap them on top of the pots. The sound of this guitar is very acoustically is pretty thin, very similar to the blue one that I made, but passable in a small room. The hot rail pickup that I installed, kind of standard, nothing brilliant, but it works. The truth and full disclosure and the discovery that was made in building both of these epoxy body guitars is, unfortunately, I don't think that the epoxy format is going to be strong enough to maintain a good stable tuning with the guitar. It's been difficult to keep them tuned over time. I've noticed that there tends to be a little bit of flex in the neck, and the action at the top of the fretboard has gotten increased, so it did stabilize after a while. The blue guitar did require wedging the neck a little bit to get it back into a good playing position. So after all of that work and figuring out how to mold the epoxy bodies and stuff, I think I have to forego that as a real way to move forward in building more guitars. But I do have another plan for that. But this guitar has been fun to make. It's going to make a nice piece of wall art for somebody, and if I'm going to put it up for sale locally here for $100 and see if anybody's interested in it. But my future plans now have evolved into, instead of taking the epoxy body, which I think this whole plan has to kind of go in the gutter, I still have a nice, easy way and a pleasant way, and efficient way of making the arch top epoxy tops. So my next project is I'm going to take a donor Maestro by Gibson LP Junior copy body here, and I'm going to plane off the top of it to the correct depth. So I'm going to make the flat top Epoxy Junior actually into an arch top guitar, as I also route out the body of the guitar to make it a hollow body. And then I can still do visual effects on the underside of the epoxy top and make it, like my plan was to make a guitar reminiscent of stained glass. So imagine, and while also using the structural integrity of the wood for the actual body and for the neck pocket, and for all of that. So that's going to be my next project. Stay tuned, and we'll see if this whole epoxy project evolves a little bit better. Anyway, that's the video. Send me a comment if you like. Leave comments if you're kind. Don't bother about subscribing. I got a day job. Have a great day.